When you scroll through celebrity gossip pages in March 2026, one story dominated the conversation. It wasn't some random Instagram drama. It was about a couple that millions of people had been invested in for years. Herbo, Taina Williams. And the question everyone was asking, did he cheat again? The accusation came fast. By the time the dust settled, everyone wanted answers. But here's what's interesting. One person stayed silent while everyone else was speaking. That person was Taina Williams. You might have seen the headlines. You might have read the tweets. But did you actually understand what happened? Because the real story isn't about accusations. It's about patterns. It's about a woman choosing to stay quiet when the world expected her to explode. Before March 2026 happened, there was a whole history that people needed to understand. And that history starts with Herbo admitting to something that changed how everyone saw him. In December 2022, on the podcast Koresha Please with Young Miami, Herbo sat down and made a confession that the internet had been waiting for.
Are you a cheater?
Am I a cheater?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a cheater. I cheated, though.
Did you cheat on Ari with Taina?
He admitted he cheated, not in some vague way. He got specific. He cheated on his ex-girlfriend Ari Fletcher with the woman who would become his fiancée, Taina Williams. The admission itself wasn't shocking to people who paid attention to hip-hop. What was shocking was that he finally said it out loud. And he said it while Ari was dealing with postpartum depression. When Young Miami pointed out that detail that he'd cheated while Ari was vulnerable, healing, dealing with the aftermath of giving birth, Herbo's response was interesting. He didn't dismiss it. He acknowledged it. He said he was young and dumb. He said there was no excuse, but he also kind of made excuses. He talked about having his own mental health struggles. He talked about needing space. What he didn't do was ask for Ari's perspective on the matter. The internet was divided. Some people said he was being real and honest. Other people said he was revealing that he was still selfish.
I was young. I was dumb. I ain't know no better, man. I was just doing shit. I was just, you feel me, like just cheating.
Admitting to wrongdoing while centering his own emotional needs in the explanation. Taina Williams, the woman at the center of this narrative, didn't say anything. She didn't post on Instagram. She didn't do an interview. She didn't defend herself or Herbo. She just existed. If you want to understand why Taina stayed silent during the March 2026 drama, you have to understand what it was like to be the other woman in one of hip-hop's messiest relationship triangles. Taina Williams was born April 1, 1998, in New York City. Her mother is Emily Bustamante, a stylist who became famous on Love and hip-hop. Her stepfather is Fabulous, a Brooklyn rapper who's been around since the early 2000s. Growing up in that environment taught her something specific about celebrity. When she started dating Herbo in 2018, she was already a social media personality with nearly 1 million followers. She had brand deals, she had credibility, she had her own thing, but the moment she became romantically involved with Herbo, none of that mattered as much as the fact that she was the girl he cheated with. That label stuck, and it stuck hard. Ari Fletcher, Herbo's ex, had millions of followers too. She had built a business empire. She was a boss in her own right. But when the cheating became public knowledge, the internet split into teams. Team Ari, Team Taina, as if the two women were enemies instead of victims of the same man's choices. What Taina learned quickly was that speaking out, whether to defend herself, attack Ari, or criticize Herbo, would only add fuel to the fire. The narrative was already written. She was the homewrecker. She was the girl who got with a man while his ex was dealing with postpartum depression. No statement she made would change that. In July 2021, when rumors circulated that Herbo and Taina had broken up because he allegedly attended Ari's birthday party, Taina made a brief comment on Instagram. Laughing emojis. That's still my man, he just blocked. Nothing to see here. That was her response. Minimal, lighthearted, designed to shut down rumors without engaging with the deeper conversation. This became her pattern. Stay quiet. Let Herbo handle it. Let the internet speculate. Don't feed the beast. Fast forward to March 2026. Herbo and Taina are engaged. They have 2 kids together. They've been through breakups and makeups. On paper, it looks like they've built something stable. And then, one night, a video emerges. The video shows Herbo at a nightclub with Taina, Coy Leray, and Coy's boyfriend Justin LeBoy. It's a double date scenario. Nothing immediately scandalous. People go to clubs, couples party together. This is normal. But then, later that night, Herbo posts on Instagram. The caption is designed to be sweet, playful, Hey, I snuck auf, sorry, Matt. I'll make it up in the coal store. He writes, he misspells Chanel as Chael and has to correct it multiple times. The post is tagged to Taina. It's framed as him leaving her side, going to the studio, then promising to make it up to her at a luxury store. The internet's reaction was immediate, and for many people, predictable. Comments flooded in, he cheated, he doing too much. This is performative. Why? Because of history. Because in 2022, Herbo had admitted to being a cheater. Because people had already learned not to trust his explanations. Because a man with a track record of infidelity posting suspicious activity looks exactly like what people expected from him. Importantly, and this is key, there was no actual evidence that Herbo cheated during this incident. No other woman emerged. No accusation was made by anyone involved in the night. The accusation came purely from people reading the situation and applying context they already knew. Herbo did respond. He responded to random social media users who questioned his behavior. When one Instagram user wrote, "Man, what did you just do?" Herbo fired back, nothing B, asterisk, 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 mind your business. He was aggressive, defensive, like a man who was tired of being questioned. And then there was Taina. Taina Williams made no public statement about the March 2026 incident. No Instagram post, no comment, no interview. She didn't defend Herbo. She didn't attack him. She didn't express hurt or concern or anger. She just wasn't there in the conversation. This silence is actually a response. It's a very specific type of response that only certain women understand. When you're a woman who's already been labeled as the home wrecker, speaking up about your man's suspicious behavior puts you in an impossible position. If you defend him aggressively, you look like you're denying reality. If you express hurt, you're admitting that the relationship isn't as perfect as your Instagram suggests. If you attack him, you're inviting 1 million people to weigh in on whether you should leave him. Staying silent is actually the smartest move. It lets him deal with his own mess. It preserves your dignity. It doesn't give the internet any ammunition. By July 2025, during an interview where Herbo discussed his relationship, he said something revealing. She pays attention to the negative comments. I don't. The implication is clear. Taina sees all the criticism, all the people questioning whether Herbo will cheat again, and she's learned to live with it. While Taina stayed silent, Herbo kept talking, and every time he talked, he seemed to make things more complicated. In the July 2025 interview on Sitsar, Herbo was asked directly about his previous admission to cheating on Ari with Taina. He didn't dodge. He explained his position that his goal was to get married in his 30s anyway. A family where he comes from is a form of commitment, that he and Taina had decided to be more private with their relationship because of the negativity that comes behind it. Notice what he's doing here. He's reframing infidelity as youthful indiscretion. He's suggesting that the negativity isn't about the cheating itself, but about how people perceive the relationship. He's positioning them as a couple under attack from the outside, rather than a couple dealing with internal trust issues. When asked how he'd feel if Taina cheated on him, he said he'd feel the same way Ari felt. When asked if he'd take Taina back if she cheated, he gave an answer but didn't commit to specifics. The whole interview was masterful public relations, admitting enough to seem sincere, while not actually changing the narrative about who he is as a person. Then came March 2026 and the snuck-out Instagram posts. His response to critics was aggression. He told someone to mind your business. He was defensive. He wasn't explaining. He was shutting down. By May 2026, he proposed to Taina. The engagement was announced. The narrative shifted from will they survive this to they survive this, and they're getting married now. Here's where things get complicated in a different way. The title of this story mentions something about Tatiana Chanel's responses.
Are you a cheater?
Am I a cheater?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a cheater. I cheated though.
And this is important to clarify because it's created confusion online. Tatiana Chanel is not involved with Herbo. Tatiana Chanel was involved in a serious domestic violence situation with Real Boston Richie in March 2025 when she alleged that he choked her approximately 20 times over the course of 2 hours while she was pregnant. She broke her silence on that assault in April 2025. Real Boston Richie is a different rapper from Florida. He is not Herbo. The internet sometimes conflates stories. Different situations, different people, same genre. But this is crucial. When looking at the Taina Williams and Herbo story, Tatiana Chanel is not part of it. What actually happened is this. Herbo admitted to cheating years ago. Social media accused him of cheating again in March 2026, based on suspicious behavior. And Taina Williams remains silent through all of it. That's the actual story. And there's an argument to be made that Taina's silence during the March 2026 drama was actually brilliant strategy. Here's why. First, any statement she made would be scrutinized. If she defended Herbo, people would say she was ignoring obvious signs of infidelity. If she expressed doubt about his fidelity, people would question why she was still with him. If she attacked him, people would use it as evidence that their relationship was falling apart. There was no winning response. Second, her silence shifted the focus away from her and onto Herbo. Instead of debating what Taina